Oh, and also I had a kidney failure. Sarah Hyland. She lived a secret double life. I had gone through 26 years of having always been a burden, of always having to be looked after, having to be cared for, because I have always had health issues. Sarah Hyland opened up after her kidney failure in an interview with Self. Sarah Hyland opened up and she said she knew she made it when she landed her big break on the hit show Modern Family as stereotypical teen Halle Dunphy. Behind the scenes, Sarah's life was anything but easy. Sarah was born with a condition called kidney dysplasia. Her kidneys never fully developed. Before her 4th birthday, she had undergone a total of 7 surgeries. Doctors told her she would never live a normal life. 3 years into the filming of the show, one of Sarah's kidneys suddenly stopped working. Fighting for her life, Sarah tried to remain strong for her family, her fans, and the show. It wasn't after her father got tested that she finally got a chance to breathe. It turned out that he was a match and he wanted to give her his kidney. Months later, Sarah returned to set with her new kidney. Her career was in full swing and Modern Family was sweeping up all the awards. Things were finally looking up for Sarah. But halfway through season 7 of the show, she received bad news yet again. Her body had gone into rejection, hoping for the best but preparing for the worst. Sarah went into overdrive. She did all the tests and treatments she could to allow her body accept the kidney and spend Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, and her birthday in the hospital. Sadly, nothing more could be done. We did all the tests and all this treatment to try to save the kidney, but they basically said the transplanted kidney was like a house that caught fire. You can't unburn a house. And that's when I started dialysis because everything just went kaput. I need to be hooked up to a machine 3 times a week for 4 hours per session. And at that time, I was very depressed. And for a long time, I was contemplating suicide. Her weight dropped dramatically, and rumors began swirling that she was anorexic. But offset, Sarah battled other symptoms in secret. Her face would swell up due to drugs and rising blood pressure. Damaged her vision. And then she got some good news. Her brother was a match. When a second family member, someone who you're supposed to look after, like a little brother, wants to give you a chance of life, Sarah refused to take another kidney from a loved one. Still, her brother insisted. 2 days before her second transplant, Sarah met the love of her life while attending a party. His name was Wells Adams. Sarah was scared to fall for him. But as the night wore on, she knew that Wells was special. The next day, Sarah was back in the hospital for a transplant. Wells made sure she FaceTimed Sarah the entire time. is seen at my worst. I think that's why I feel the most in his beautiful eyes, said Sarah. For the next few weeks, Sarah was briefly written out of the show so she could recover when she returned. She was welcomed on set with open arms. During this period, Sarah found strength in her family, Wells and her dogs. Despite her health struggles and undergoing 16 surgeries throughout her life, Sarah isn't letting her struggles define her. My name is Sarah. I have 2 of the most amazing dogs in the entire world. I have the best boyfriend ever. I have the greatest family one could ever ask for. I love working and home. I had 2 kidney failures. And also, I'm a 2-time kidney recipient. It was the worst and best year of my life. I started out horrific, and it ended with a beautiful beginning of not just a new chapter, but a new book. I was told I had no chance. See now. Arnold's father was an abusive alcoholic Nazi cop. He used to beat Arnold with belts. As an escape, Arnold watched action movies and he developed a love for America. Arnold felt his real future awaited him there. But his father ridiculed his dreams. His father wanted him to be a police officer, but Arnold's will would not be broken. Bodybuilding was his only way out, so he did everything he could to train for competitions. He even escaped basic army training to compete and spent a week in a military prison as punishment. With only a dream and $20 in his pocket, Arnold left for America. He said, if you want to turn a vision into reality, you have to give 100% and never stop believing in your dreams. He arrived in California and was 21 years old. He worked as a bricklayer during the day. At night, he would focus on his dream of making it in America. Many of his friends helped him out, giving him dishes and pillows because he was broke. He started selling gym equipment. He then took any leftover money and made small investments in real estate. Arnold had his sights set on Nollywood, but he struggled early in his acting career. He was told his body was too big and weird. He was told he had a funny accent. He was told his name was too long. Schwarzenegger. Everywhere I turned, I was told that I had no chance. But Arnold stayed true to himself and his dream, and quickly made a name for himself as an actor. He got a small role after small role. Even won a Golden Globe for New Star for the year in 1976. With the money he had made from side hustle, Arnold decided to focus on acting full time. It was a fateful decision as he got a big role, even though it was in a low budget movie. A role turned down by Mel Gibson, Tom Selleck, Chevy Chase, and almost given to O.J. Simpson. But in 1984, The Terminator launched Arnold to stardom, and he became an action hero icon. He said, the meaning of life is not simply to exist to survive, but to move ahead, to go up, to achieve, to conquer. With a bag full of blocksters, Arnold reinvented himself yet again in 23 when he left the world of entertainment to devote himself fully to public service. Eventually, being elected governor of California, Arnold is involved with the Special Olympics and found programs that educate youths about health. Befitting his real-life action hero, he once saved a drowning man off the coast of Maui. His movies have made billions, but more importantly, he is the embodiment of the American dream and a reminder that no matter where we come from, we are the masters of our own destiny. In his words, your struggles develop your strength. When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is strength. They called me Brownie and Corey. She ate her school lunch in the bedroom. In America, Priyanka Chopra was bullied for being Indian, and her classmates called her names like Brownie and Corey. Their cruel tones broke her spirit and caused Priyanka to question who she was. During lunch period, she hid in the bedroom to eat her food. One day, two classmates violently attacked her, forcing Priyanka to fight back. She realized that if she didn't find a way to master her fear, it would continue to control her life. Any transition is easier, she said, if you believe in yourself and your talent. She returned to India wanting to become an engineer, but her life changed when her mother entered her into Miss Indian pageant. Having felt ugly all her life, Priyanka was shocked when she won the title of Miss Indian World. Priyanka always dreamed of getting engaged with a ring from Tiffany & Co. Ever since she saw the classic movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. But her father encouraged her not to fit into someone else's glass slipper and instead shatter the glass ceiling. Priyanka wanted her newfound confidence to inspire others and give them tools to succeed. She said, "You've got to teach yourself to take over the world." When she learned that her housekeeper's son attended school while his sister stayed at home, Priyanka stepped in and paid for the girl's education. She donates 10% of her income to help underprivileged children, giving them access to health care and education. In her career, she seeks to challenge Indian stereotypes and show there is no role she can't handle. Many men were intimidated by her success and ambition. But Nick Jones fell in love with the way Priyanka saw the world, and he even proposed with a ring from Tiffany & Co. Priyanka managed to find her Prince Charming. After she reduced herself, she sewed her father's name into the seam of her wedding dress to carry his memory with her as she embarked on the next adventure of life. Priyanka's story reminds us to truly believe in ourselves and stay true to who we are. Be true to who you are, she said. Be courageous, be selfless, be love. Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. Brie Larson thought she wasn't pretty enough. Every night, Brie would lay awake, listening to her mother's sobs. Seeing her parents fight terrified her. When they finally split, Bree moved into a tiny apartment with her mom and sister. Bree would open her closet and see her only possessions: two shirts and a single pair of jeans. The family lived off nightly dinners of instant noodles while her mother worked as a waitress. Being homeschooled made Bree feel isolated from other children, so she saw movies as a way to escape into a more glamorous world. Bree watched Gone with the Wind so many times the tape wore out, and she worked on perfecting a Scarlett O'Hara impression. But Bree was too terrified to let anyone see it and hid for years. Her insecurities only grew as she got older. Each day she spent hours staring into the mirror, obsessively trying to hide every last flaw. Bree spent so much time preparing for the life she wasn't actually living. I knew she had to take a leap. Becoming a superhero means saying goodbye to your old life and becoming something greater than yourself. Bree knew this when she agreed to play Captain Marvel. When the trailer was first released, online trolls told Bree to smile more. But Bree shut them down in true superhero style. You can be strong in the ways you want to be. You can be who you are. She posted Photoshop faces of male superheroes with smiles on their faces, finally becoming the superhero she needed as a child. Bree gave girls the strength to be themselves. She endorsed Captain Marvel, raising money for girls to see a female superhero on the big screen. Despite the spotlight, Bree never forgot her humble roots. She refuses to splurge on clothes and shops at thrift stores when she can. Bree reminds us that we are capable of being our own hero. I think it's always the moments that are trials that end up making you the hero in the end. The story of Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, is a real motivational story for all girls around the world who ignore themselves and consider themselves inferior to others, and think the situation and background are all that is stopping them. This story truly fuels the strength in the spirit and inspires every girl child and woman out there. Nikola Tesla. I don't care that they stole my idea, but his father was a priest, his mother an inventor. He was born during a lightning storm. He had a photographic memory. He was smart enough to memorize books, images, and even 3D structures. As a teenager, he contracted cholera. For 9 months, he was bedridden. For 9 months, and he almost died. In college, he became fascinated with electricity. He moved to the US in 1984 to work for the famous inventor Thomas Edison. Edison said his ideas were splendid, but utterly impractical. The company once offered him $12 million to improve his DC motor, and he did. But Edison failed to pay him, saying, "You don't understand American humor." Instead, he offered him a raise of $10 a week. He quit working for him after that incident. "I don't care that they stole my idea. I only care that they don't have any other of their own," said Tesla. "I don't care that they stole my idea. I only care that they don't have any of their own," said Tesla. Edison and Tesla maintained their rivalry for years. It was called the War of the Currents. He eventually won and helped bring electricity to America. Years later, he demonstrated radio transmission, but a fire destroyed his lab as he prepared the first real radio signal. Marconi then took his ideas and his technology to win the Nobel Prize. Tesla was inflamed, especially when he found out Marconi had received all his financial support from his old rival friend, Edison. The court invalidated Marconi's radio patents, but they were based on Tesla's work. Justice finally prevails. True, but unfortunately it happened 2 years after his death. He once didn't even sleep and worked for continuous 84 hours. He spoke 8 languages and filed more than 300 patents. Some of his work is still classified by the US government. Truthfully, he never cared about the money. Years after he died, his statue was raised for him in Silicon Valley. The statue is equipped with free Wi-Fi connection. Tesla said, "Science is but a perversion of itself, unless it has its ultimate goal, the betterment of humanity." Once you learn the 7 life lessons from Nikola Tesla, you will live a much better life. 1. Don't pay attention to what others are doing. Instead of focusing on what the world can take from us, we need to focus on what we can put into the world. 2. Looking inward helps you see clearer. Reflection is an important part of being authentic self and being true to what you want in life. It's okay to be ahead of everyone else. Tesla reminds us that real creators are okay with people not accepting their ideas. Don't give up. Be proud of what you are capable of. Never stop learning and reading. The internet is full of information and ideas. Rather than shifting through journals, reading stories and ideas of how things are done can ignite real creativity in people. Be patient and just push on. Patience goes a long way. Don't worry about how long it takes to achieve your dreams. Just keep working on them. Never stop creating, no matter what anyone says. Even you, don't stop making things. Use your talent to help make the world a better place. Money isn't everything. Tesla cheers us to create for creation's sake. If there are rewards to be had, great. If not, creation can be reward enough. Nothing will serve you better than a strong work ethic. Nothing. Robert Downey Jr.'s dad forced him to smoke weed when he was 6. Robert's dad was a drug-addicted filmmaker who made him do drugs so they could bond together. It was like him trying to express his love for me in the only way he knew how, said Robert. When his parents divorced, Robert moved to California with his dad. By this time, he was abusing alcohol and drugs every night. In the midst of the course, Robert dropped out of school and decided to pursue a career in acting. He focused on his work and took any role he could find, and was hired to be on Saturday Night Live. But SNL had terrible ratings that year, and Robert was fired. Still, he continued working small roles in popular films like Weird Science, and soon landed a breakout role in Less Than Zero, where he played a cynical drug addict whose life spirals out of control. His performance was widely praised as moving and mature, but Robert felt that he was playing his own drug-addicted self and checking himself into rehab. Now clean and sober, he was ready to work and prepared extensively for the role of Charlie Chaplin by learning violin and becoming left-handed. Nothing will serve you better than a strong work ethic. Nothing, said Robert. His performance got him nominated for an Oscar. But despite his success, drugs were never far behind. He gave into demons again and he hit rock bottom, getting arrested and going to prison several times in a few short years. His wife was fed up, left with their son, lost, tired, and desperate for help. Robert checked himself again into rehab. Remember that just because you hit the bottom doesn't mean you have to stay there, said Robert. While here, he took up medication, yoga and kung fu, and finished treatments with a renewed passion for life. A desire to stay drug-free. His second wife gave him an ultimatum to stick to sobriety or lose her. This time he was ready to give it all in. All his hard work paid off when he landed the role of Iron Man, which went on to make billions worldwide and got him named as one of the most influential people. A true hero, Robert spent much of his time with children who are sick or in need of help. He visits them in the hospital. In true Tony Stark style, he delivered a new bionic arm to a young boy. Knowing his struggles, he also helps drug addicts get the help they need to recover. Robert's inspiring comeback story is proof that you can always turn your life around, because people rise out of ashes because they are invested in the possibility of triumph over seemingly impossible odds. Again, people rise out of ashes because they are invested in the possibility of triumph over seemingly impossible odds, said Robert Downey Jr. Your past doesn't equal your future. Tony Robbins. Tony's mother poured liquid soap down his throat. She had severe addictions to drugs and alcohol and rarely left the house. She was also physically abusive. She would beat his head against the wall until it bled. His mother remarried 4 times while he was growing up. The eldest of 3, Tony, had no choice but to take care of his siblings. Tony said, "The more you face your fears, the stronger you become." One day on Thanksgiving, Tony's family was hungry and they had nothing to eat. They were so poor. Tony said, "My mom was screaming at my father because he couldn't take care of his family. And then a miracle happened. Bang on the door. I am the oldest one. They are screaming, so I go answer the door. Standing there is this giant man. I was this little boy, and he's holding this huge box of food." That moment deeply impacted Tony. That day he vowed one day he's going to help people in the same manner that his family has helped. He became an avid learner as a teen. He scans over 100 books a year, all in the area of psychology, physiology, and philosophy. But his troubled mother would often punish Tony by making him skip school. Tony said, "Every problem is a gift. Without problems, we would not grow." On Christmas Eve, Tony Robbins' mother chased him out of the house with a knife. He never went back home. He found a little flat but continued to support his mother and his family. After school, he worked as a janitor, a handyman, and a mover. One day, he saw an old friend who used to be poor and was now successful. He told Tony he had been to a seminar run by Jim Rohn, a famous motivational speaker. Tony wrote Ron a letter asking if he could work for him. Jim Rohn accepted and took Tony under his wing. Tony developed a more high-energy personalized version of Ron's seminars. He traveled across the country, leading hundreds of seminars over the year. Every path doesn't equal to your future, said Tony. 2 years later, the huge success of his first book, Unlimited Power, launched Tony into the mainstream. Tony is now the world's most famous and most respected performance coach. He regularly sells out stadiums with his famous life coaching seminars. He owns 33 companies, consults over 2,000 million people, and is worth over $500 million. He made Oprah walk on fire and coached some of the world's most high-profile people, including Bill Clinton, Serena Williams, Leonardo DiCaprio, Nelson Mandela, Princess Diana, and Mother Teresa. And just like he promised his younger self, his charity work has fed more than 50 million people in 56 countries around the world. Tony reminds us that all through resilience and compassion, we could achieve diversity and come out much stronger.